Use divisions to convert the base 10 numeral 344 to base 6. Okay, so currently we have a number that is in base 10, and we want to go ahead and write it. Oops, let's see, so we got base 10, and we want to go ahead and convert it into base 6. Okay, so we're going to be using division to do this. There's two different ways, both using division, but there's pretty much two different ways to set this one up. I'm going to show you both ways here. The first example, I found that some students like better because they have to, they have to do less calculations up front. But like I said, it's either way you want to use it is fine with me. Okay, so I've got the number 344, and I'm going to go ahead and divide it by 6. So, all right, so how many times will 6 go into 344? So this is when you use your calculator, 344 divided by 6, and you get 57 point, stuff. You get some decimals there, but it goes in there evenly 57 times. So when I take 57 times 6, I got 342, and so that leaves me with a remainder of 2. Hold on to your remainders. Those are going to be important. Those are going to be part of our answer. Okay, so now I do this again. So now I'm going to say, all right, so how many times, so I take this number over here, how many times will 6 go into 57? So 9 times. So 9 times 6 is 54, and that'll leave me a remainder of 3. And we're going to keep going until I get to 0. So now I'm going to say, all right, so 6 will divide into 9. How many times will it go into 9? Well, 6 go into 9 once. 1 times 6 is 6. Divide, we get a remainder of 3. And like I said, we're going to keep on going. Now, how many times will 6 go into 1? It goes into there 0 times. So this is the last time I have to do this. 0 times 6 is 0, and I'm left with a remainder of 1. So my answer is going to be my remainders, but kind of backwards in the opposite direction. So my answer is going to be 1, 3, 3, 2, base 6. So that is how you write 344 in base 6. Okay. So like I said, that way there, you're going to keep dividing by 6, and you're going to, again, since I went in there 57 times, next time I take 6 into 57. I went in there 9 times evenly, so next time I look at 6 into 9. Goes in there once, so next time 6 into 1. When this final number here is a 0, like I said, that's the last time you have to go through it, but you do have to go through it that last iteration. And then your answer will be the remainders written backwards. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you a slightly different way of doing it. In this method here, you have to look at the powers of 6. So it's kind of like rewriting it in expanded form. So I need to look at, 6 to the 0, 6 to the 1, 6 squared, 6 to the third. I don't know how high I have to go. I mean, I do. I'm going to look at the 344, and I got to see how many times it'll go into 344. So 6 to the 0, I get 1. That's 6. 6 squared is 36, so that'll go into there. Let's see if 6 to the third power will go into there. So 6 to the third is 216. Yep, 216 will go into 344, so let me try 6 to the fourth power. 6 to the fourth power is 1,296. Okay, that's too big. So once I get there, I know it's too big, so I'm going to start with a 216 into 344. It'll go in there once. I'm going to keep track of these on the other side. So it'll go into there once. So 1 times 216, I subtract, and that leaves me with 128. And now we have to keep going. So I use my 6 to the third power. Now I got to look at my 6 squared. How many times will that go into there? So 36. So 36 into 128. And like I said, this is when I use my calculator. And I'll say, okay, it'll go into there 3 times evenly. And then 3 times 36 will give me 108. And so when I subtract, I got 20 left over. Okay, so now look at 6 to the first power. How many times will that go in there? So divide by 6, 6 will go into 23 times. That gives me 18. And that will leave me with 2. And so I got to go one more time. So I've used the 6 to the third, 6 squared, 6 to the first. Now I got to use 6 to the first power. So like I said, this last time, it'll go on there, 2 times. And then, gives me a remainder of 0. So my answer is going to be these right here. So 1, 3, 3, 2, and base 6. So you can see that we got the same answer. Both use division, but it's a slightly different way. On the first time, I was keeping track of my remainders, and I had to read them backwards. And in the second example, the one I worked out in green, we were really looking at the bases, and we were keeping track of, you know, the numbers, how many times did it go into there. But you had to make use of, like I said, 6 to the 0, 6 to the first, 6 to the second, 6 to the third, and then depending on how big the number is, keep on going from there. So pick whichever method, you know, works well for you. I've seen both worked out with other people. The book tells you or shows you the second way, but whichever one is easier for you is good with me.